Mr. Boston, my baby has suffered a brain injury at birth, and the doctors are talking about this term HIE and that the umbilical cord gas was less than 7. How can something like this happen? Want to know what I'm getting at here? Stay with me as I share with you this really important information. Hello, I'm Marcus Boston, and I am a childbirth injury and medical malpractice attorney practicing law here in the state of Maryland. And I would like to quickly talk with you today about some really important information when we are dealing with birth injury cases and a subsequent cerebral palsy diagnosis down the line. And before I get to that question of how these things can happen during a vaginal delivery, I want to jump back and I want to help you understand a very important term that was mentioned earlier. And that term is hypoxic ischemic encephalopathy, or HIE. And maybe you have seen this term in your child's medical records, or maybe you have talked to the doctors and the doctors have used this term. It's 3 words, and I'm going to break them up and we're going to put them back together, and that should help you get a good understanding of what I'm getting at. All right, so when we're talking about hypoxic or hypoxia, you are dealing with a reduced level of oxygen. That's the easiest way in general to understand that. Ischemic, what we're looking at there is a reduced level of blood. And encephalopathy, when we put them all together, what you get is a reduced level of blood and oxygen causing an injury to the brain. Now, we've got HIE defined in general. So now the question is, well, how can a brain injury occur during a vaginal delivery? And one of the ways in which this can occur is that the baby gets a reduced level of blood and oxygen to the brain. Now, when you are giving birth, Mom, when you're giving birth and you're in the delivery room, you are going to be hooked up to a lot of machines. You're going to be hooked up to stuff. And during this process, there is a very important tool that is being used that is monitoring the baby and letting the doctors know how well that child is dealing with the vaginal delivery. And that tool, that machine, is what we call the electronic fetal heart monitor. Yep, that's it. And it's looking at a lot of things, but one of the very important focuses with this machine is the baby's heart rate. It's looking at how well a baby's heart rate and how well the baby is doing. And normally what we will see is that a child doing this process, it will be about, when we're looking at the heart rate, we're looking at about 120 to 160 beats per minute. That's about the normal range. You don't want to get too high above those numbers, and you don't want to get too low, because if you are, then that's letting you know that, you know what, baby's not tolerating the delivery, the vaginal delivery well. And it may be in the baby and mom's best interest to go ahead and move to an emergency C-section if the things that are being displayed on the electronic fetal heart monitor show that the baby is not doing too well. Now, in my opinion, that's not really a hard, fast rule with some things, because there's a lot of things that can come into play when we're looking at cord gases. For example, we're assuming that when the gas is drawn, that it was done the correct way. We're assuming that it is the same sample. So if you're in a situation where your child has suffered a brain injury and you are looking at the cord values and they may be a little bit higher than 7, then that does not necessarily mean that a hypoxic event did not occur, because there are other things that you have to take into consideration when you're looking at and you're analyzing these types of cases as a whole. So why have I taken the time today to talk with you about this really important information? Because more than likely, if you are watching this video today, your child has suffered a brain injury at birth, and maybe you have a subsequent cerebral palsy diagnosis that the doctors have given your child, and you are concerned about how are you going to help your child meet the challenges going forward. You've had an opportunity to look through the medical records and you've seen this cord gas number. Maybe it's less than 7, maybe it's a little bit above 7, and you have questions about what are you going to do going forward. Well, if you are in this situation and you would like to speak with me further about what's going on, about the challenges that you're looking to be facing, that your child's looking to be facing, if you have these types of questions, this is what I invite you to do. And remember, taking this next action costs you absolutely nothing. And what is that action? To pick up the phone and give me a call. I can be reached at 301-850-4832, or if you prefer, send me an email to medicalinjury@bostonlawllc.com. I answer medical malpractice and childbirth injury questions just like yours all the time. I talk to parents about brain injuries and the challenges that their child is facing into the future. I talk with them all the time about things like this. So if you have questions, give me a call. All right, that's going to be it for today's quick educational video. Again, I'm Marcus Boston, and I'm one of the medical malpractice and childbirth injury attorneys here at Boston Law Group LLC. And we will see you next time. Take care and enjoy the rest of the day.